My name is Mehvish. Today I am going to teach you the subject of English B. Today our topic is related to tense. As I told you in previous lecture, tense means a word which shows time, and I have already told you about the major and subcategories of tenses. Today we will discuss about present continuous tense. First of all, I will tell you about the identification in Urdu of this one tense. रहा है, रही है, रहे हैं come at the end of these tenses. Now I will tell you about the formula for simple sentences. Simple mean affirmative or positive. First of all, we will place subject. After that, we will use helping verb. The helping verbs are is, am, are in this case. Then we will use fourth form of verb. Fourth form of verb means whenever you will use first form of verb with ing, then it will become fourth form of verb. Like I am going to give the example of teach. Teach is the first form. Taught is the second form of teach. Taught is the third form of teach. And finally, teaching is the fourth and last one form of verb. Then we will use article. There are two kinds of article in English grammar. A and are used for unspecific purposes, and the da is used for specific purposes. With vowels we use an, and vowels are 5 in number like A, E, I, O, U in English B. And then we will use object, and at the end of the sentence we will use full stop. I am going to give you some extra information regarding this one. Is used with she, he, it, aslam or any name. You can write any name in this case. Then am is used with I only. And finally, last one, are is used with they, we and you. Now I will explain it in detail with the help of examples. The first example in Urdu is वो एक सेब खा रही है. Now I will translate it into English. She is eating an apple. She is subject over here. Is the helping verb. In other words, we can say auxiliary verb. Thus, other name of helping verb is auxiliary verb. Eating is the fourth form of verb. An is the article and apple is object. And finally, we will use full stop over here. That the sentence is complete over here. The second example is मैं तालिब इल्मों को पढ़ा रही हूँ. I am teaching the students. I is subject over here. Am is the helping verb. Teaching is the fourth form of verb. The is the article. Students is the object. And finally we will use full stop. Come to the next one. The formula for negative sentences. Negative mean it shows negation in this case. First of all, we will place subject in the beginning. Then we will use helping verbs is, am, are. And then with is, am, are, I mean to say with helping verbs, we will use not to show negation over here. Then we will use fourth form of verb. Then we will place article. Then we will use object. And finally, we will put full stop. As I told you before, in affirmative and negative, in both sentences, we will use full stop at the end of the sentence. Come to the next point. This is with the help of examples. वो एक सेब नहीं खा रही है. नहीं shows negation over here. She is not eating an apple. She is subject over here. Is the helping verb or auxiliary verb. Not shows negation over here. Eating is the fourth form of verb. An is the article. Apple is an object. And finally, we will use full stop. Now I will tell you about second example in detail. मैं तालिब इल्मों को नहीं पढ़ा रही हूँ. I am not teaching the students. I is subject over here. Am is helping verb. As I told you before, with I we will use am, not is or are. Then we will use not to show negation over here. Teaching is the fourth form of verb. The is the article and students is the object. And finally we will use full stop. Now I will tell you about the formula for interrogative sentences. Interrogative is a word which means we can ask any question in this case. And the formula for this one case is, am, are. These are helping verbs. In the beginning, we will use helping verbs. Then we will place subject. Then we will use fourth form of verb. And then we will utilize article. And then we will use object. And finally, we will put question mark over here. The difference between positive, negative and interrogative sentences is that in both cases, I mean to say in affirmative and negative sentences, we will use full stop at the end of the sentence, but in this case, in the end, we will use question mark, not full stop. Now I will tell it in detail with the help of examples. क्या वो एक सेब खा रही है? Here a question is asking. Is the helping verb. She is a subject. In this case, we will use is in the beginning and then we will use she. I mean to say, she will take the place of the helping verb and is will take the place of the subject. Then we will use eating. Is she eating an apple? Is helping verb or auxiliary verb over here. She is the subject. Eating is the fourth form of verb in this case. An is the article. Apple is the object, and finally we will use question mark. The second example is this. क्या मैं तालिब इल्मों को पढ़ा रही हूँ? Now I will tell you in English version. Am is the helping verb, I is the subject, teaching is the fourth form of verb, da is the article, students is the object with question mark. Now I will tell you about the formula for interrogative negative sentences. The difference between interrogative and interrogative negative sentences is that in case of interrogative sentences, we will ask a question only. But in this case, I mean to say in interrogative and negative, in both these sentences, we will ask a question. But in the same way, similarly, we will use not over here. Is, am, are helping verb over here. Subject, then we will use subject, then we will use not, then we will use fourth form of verb, then we will use article, and then we will use object, and at the end of the sentence we will put question mark over here. As I told you before, interrogative negative means we will ask the question as well as this one sentence will show negation as well. Now I will tell you with the help of examples to explain it in detail. The first example is this. क्या वो एक सेब नहीं खा रही है? नहीं shows negation over here and question mark means we are asking a question over here. Is she not eating an apple with question mark? It's mean is auxiliary verb over here. She is the subject. Not shows negation. Eating is the fourth form of verb. An is the article. As I told you before, an is used with vowel words. As I'm going to tell you, apple is the object, and finally we will put question mark over here. Apple is the vowel. Apple is the vowel. So that's why we are using and with vowel words over here. As I have told you before, we will use and with vowel, not with consonants. With consonants, we will use only, not and. Second example is this. क्या मैं तालिब इल्मों को नहीं पढ़ा रही हूँ? With question mark. Am I not teaching the students? Am is the helping verb over here. I is the subject. Not shows negation. Teaching is the fourth form of verb. Da is the article. Students is the object. And finally, we will put question mark over here. Basically, we will use not after subject. In this case, it is the formula to memorize it. Inshallah, in future, I will make a new video on present perfect tense. So, you must watch that one video. So, thanks a lot. Allah Hafiz.